Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Schmoedown Rundown. Introducing first, Frankie Janisch, and the host of the Schmoedown Rundown, Brad Gilmore.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Schmoedown Rundown, the official after show for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I'm your host, Brad Gilmore, joined from all the way in beautiful Chicago, Illinois, home of the deep dish, Mr. Frank Janisch.
Yeah, home of the deep dish, beef sandwiches, hot dogs, everything else in between. It's going good here in the old Chicago, Illinois, and you know what, Brad? I gotta say, I think we're gonna have a good show. I'm pretty certain we're gonna have a good show. Now, some people may call me cocky for saying that, but I think I'm just pretty confident that we're gonna have a good show here.
Perhaps you're a little arrogant, Frank. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But also, from the cornfields of Pennsylvania, my man Chris Clark.
Oh, the cornfields out here are delicious, and they're really raw, and they're really sweaty. But you know what, Brad? Pennsylvania feels hot, is hot. Let's rock this sucker.
Wow.
It is not hot as the great state of Texas. I don't know how all of you are doing out there in your respective states. I did hear something that California is going to try to split into 3 different states, and that's up for vote in November. Crazy times we are living in, but
Same thing with Illinois, the rest of Illinois and Chicago. Someone wants Chicago to split off from Illinois, so I guess
I live in the only state in the union that used to be its own country, so
true.
Let's let's give credit where credit's due. We did it
well,
first,
country,
and we did it best.
States, I got you.
Whatever. Why do I have glasses on? I don't know.
Because you were reading a book.
I was reading a book.
Is it a good read? Is it a good read?
To the kitchen. It's a free plug, Prince. My eyes on you.
Yeah.
But, hey, guys, we have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about a myriad of different issues that went on in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown this week. Frank, I know you have a lot of news segments that we need to get to. I want to first thank everybody for tuning into our episode last week with Christian Harloff, the creator, Christian Harloff. I thought that was a really fun and introspective interview into the mind of Sir Harloff, especially when it comes to the live event stuff and where he wants to take it going forward. I thought his opinions on the rulings were very interesting. And the one thing I didn't like about the interview was some of the comments toward it. And we're going to talk a lot about commenters in this episode. And it's not going to be any rant, believe you me. But I wanted to make something abundantly clear. Some people were calling Frank for you and I to have some forced dialogue with Christian Harloff and intentionally disagree with him about some of the things that he says, just to play devil's advocate. I want to let everyone who thinks that know that would be an awful show. I am not going to engage somebody whom I agree with and disagree with them, because that is moronic and it's stupid. And they said something like a good host would do that. Well, no, it wouldn't. A good host would do his job, and that's not insult the guest and come up with contrived opinions in order to put that guest into a corner to feel like this is a battle and to feel like there's some conflict going on. I do not do that. Frank does not do that. Chris Clark is crazy aggressive off camera, but he doesn't do that either, and that's not what this show is about. This show is to talk about the Schmoedown and have fun. I'm not going to have forced, contrived opinions just for the enjoyment of the vocal minority. Frank, let me throw it over to you. What was your opinions about some of the feedback that we got from our last episode?
I was taken back by the fact that they thought we had Christian on purely for damage control because of that 5th question. Like, no, I think we're going to have Christian on because he's the guy who created the damn league. He's also the guy that just pulled off one of the greatest moments in Schmoedown history. So definitely really wanted to talk to the guy that made that moment happen. But at the forefront of our mind, Brad, was, oh God, we got to have Christian on. Christian's got to be on here to spin this because this is horrible. This is Jesus.
Travesty. We got to have him on, Frank. Yeah. We got to set this right.
But people are going to think whatever they want to think, and I understand that. And they think that Christian is told, or I think maybe they even referenced that Christian wanted to come on here for damage control, like our podcast, who gets like, I don't know, 2,000 views on YouTube. I don't know how many on iTunes.
Hundreds of thousands.
Right. Yeah, like we're gonna he's gonna go on there and influence everybody else when he can just go on his own phone on his Harloff card pool and do damage control that way. Which, by the way, I think he kind of got the bug because he's done like 4 card pools already since.
Oh my lord! Yeah,
and he's like going crazy now with all these Q&As and stuff. So
he definitely is, and I agree with you. You know, there's been some criticism in the past from certain individuals who want to say that Christian is rather controlling of this show. I want to let you know I've never gotten one thing said to me from Christian Harloff, not one text, not one email telling me what to talk about and what not to talk about. That's just me, and he definitely didn't call me and say, I want to come do damage control on the show. But we had him on the show. I thought it was an excellent interview. A lot of great behind-the-scenes insight. And to all the fans that did like it, I am talking to the very, very few, the minority here. So I don't want to make it think that this was the overwhelming majority of people felt this way. But to the fans who did watch and listen and love it, thank you so much. And, you know, I'm not saying you can't comment on the show. But just because you make a comment doesn't mean I can't respond to it. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is just firing back, or as they say, a clap back. That's what I'm doing. Clap back. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm all about my clapbacks. But let's talk about another thing real quick before we get into any more news about the Christian interview. A lot of people, though, in the comment section and some tweets that I did receive, you know, they talked about wanting Harloff off the desk because of his recent behavior. What is your reaction to that, Frank?
I just laugh at the thought that would ever happen. Like, absolutely no way. He talked about how much. Well, if you looked at or read his like State of the Union speech that he posted on Facebook and on Twitter, you know, he's talking about, and he even said as much when he was talking to us, that he's got to do all these different things, and he wishes he had the personnel. He wishes he had the money to hire all these other people to take up these other things that he's got to do besides, you know, at the desk. If he's at the desk doing as much as he is now, what makes you think down the road that if he's going to do less, then he's going to get off the desk? Like, and also, I mean, he is, for all intents and purposes, face of the Schmoedown, him and Mark Ellis. So there is no way in hell he will 100% step down from the desk. There's no way in hell he's going to step aside while big title matches happen. That's just not going to happen. Like, he may step aside from some Intergeekdom, other team matches, other singles matches, which he has done in the past. You know, when you get different combinations at the desk, like Roca, Riley, whatever, and Emma and Bibiani. But come Collider Collision, you better believe Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis, in some kind of combination throughout that day, are going to be at that desk. There's just no way around it. And to think otherwise, I'm sorry, that's a pipe dream. That's a pipe dream.
Well, Frank, I think I owe you a few doubloons because you've done some great shilling right there.
Wait, hold on. Let me check my bank account right now. Oh, yeah,
There you go. I
thought he left off a 0 for a second, but he's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, let's talk about a couple other things. I know Janisch was fired up before we started here. There were some issues that you wanted to also address furthermore. I swear, this isn't like us having a therapy session on this episode of the Schmoedown. Just some stuff that came up. So, Frank, what else did you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think it's a good week, too, because, and I'll be pretty blunt about this, Tuesday's match, not the greatest. So we're going to kind of
for all of you fans who saw CM Punk versus Mike Jackson at UFC 225.
Yeah, there you go. If you know that, then you know. You
know what to expect.
Yeah. But also comments that were pointed towards the Fight Club and the fact that they are now a cocky faction, that they're a heel faction. What?
Nothing says arrogance and cockiness like MA5.
Right. It's laughable. It really is to me. There's a huge difference. Well, maybe not a huge difference, but there is a difference between being confident in yourself and being cocky. I don't understand. I kind of understand why some people get that mixed up when it comes to a woman. I just don't think there are people in this community and across the world, it's really a huge culture thing, that whenever you see a confident woman, it's threatening to some men. And then they get commented at on Twitter, in our Facebook group, the Schmoedown Facebook group, and it just completely baffles me that it's not that I'm naive to the fact that these people exist. I just hoping that we were better than that. And the Fight Club is not cocky. Rachel is not cocky. She's confident. It's okay to say I'm good at the game and not be labeled a heel or cocky. It just doesn't make any sense. And there's a big double standard when it comes to that in the league. You know, Roca, he comes across, in my opinion, cocky as hell. But it's warranted because he's good at the game, so you can call it confidence too. But at the time he's also playing a heel, so he's playing a character. Rachel, I feel, isn't really playing a character as much as she's playing herself and really playing. But I mean, maybe it's a little more elevated here and there. But she's not she doesn't have a true defined character like Roca or JTE or Finstock. You know, it's nothing, or Team Action. Those guys, not super defined characters. It's more of themselves. But I mean, there was another incident. Well, not an incident, but an example, rather. Remember when Critically Acclaimed walked out there, Bibiani and Seibold, shouting at everybody, "We're better than you," right? No one had a problem with them saying that. But as soon as you hear Rachel say, "I think I'm really good at this game," oh, well, she's too cocky. Get down from your pedestal. Give me a break. I mean, seriously. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you know, I understand that some men are threatened by a strong woman. I happen to be one of those men who are threatened by everybody, so I'm an equal opportunity threat, I guess.
Victim.
A threaty
you're a victim.
Victim. There we go. I'm an equal opportunity victim. So that's nothing for me. But it is crazy to think that Rachel Cushing, Emma Fife of all people, could be considered cocky or arrogant.
And it's not like they're making
kidding?
stuff up.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. Rachel is a stone cold fox when it comes to this game. She is BADA double crooked letter when it comes to this game. You don't get you really don't get much higher than Rachel Cushing, and I really think that she's toe to toe with the Sam Levines or the Dan Murrells or any of the greats of the game. I think she's right up there, and if we had a first ballot Hall of Fame like we've talked about before, I think she's well on her way to being on that first ballot. So that's neither here nor there. She's great at the game. You know, we praise certain people, especially to all my wrestling fans out there. We praise certain people like The Rock and Dwayne Johnson. You think Dwayne Johnson's got an ego? Oh, hell yeah. But do we say that he's cocky? No, because we like Dwayne Johnson because he's really good at what he does. And when you're really good at what you do and you talk a little smack or you say that you're really good, it doesn't mean that you're overly cocky or arrogant. I think when you think of the person Muhammad Ali, you think of confident. You think of the greatest, right? You don't think, oh, that arrogant, peckerhead. You know, I hate Muhammad Ali for his cockiness and arrogance. No, we look up to these people. We look up to The Rock. We look up to Muhammad Ali because of the way they talk trash, but because of the way they were so ahead of the curve in their sport or ahead of everybody else, so much better than everybody else. So just because Rachel is kicking ass and taking names right now, and she's feeling confident about herself doing that, and she expresses that confidence, doesn't mean that you can say, oh, this cocky girl over here, let me just berate her comments and especially in the Facebook group of all places, what we've talked about before. This is not for the YouTube commenters. Get away. Out of here, YouTube. This is the approved Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook group. You need to leave that mess at the door where you found it.
Yeah, and that's not to say you can't have criticisms. It's just realize what you're saying before you put it out there, because, like I said, there is a difference between being cocky and being confident, and Rachel is pretty confident in the Intergeekdom League, and she rightfully should be. She has one of the top percentages in the league. Right? She's like, after this match, she's like half a percentage behind Inman right now. So she deserves to say she's confident. She is more than welcome to say she is confident in a pre-match interview. Because she says, I'm good at the game, I'm confident, doesn't mean she's a heel or that she's cocky. That just doesn't scan for me. It really doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Anybody who jumps to that is just... You remember that scene in Space Jam when Michael Jordan's trying to dunk the ball and all the Monstars are holding him back?
Yeah.
And you know what he's doing? You know what he's doing? He's reaching. And that's what a lot of you are doing right now with these comments about Rachel. Y'all are reaching. You're trying to find something to complain about. And you know what? There's room for you, but it's just not in the group.
Pick your battles. Pick your battles. And let me tell you, this one is not the one to pick. This is not the one.
This is not the one. This is not the one. And this isn't your hill to die on here. So, and you know, I don't want us to come across as we're trying to be too much of a... maybe it comes across as a little bit holier than thou right now, but that's not really how I'm trying. It's at least not where I'm coming from or Frank's coming from. It's just coming from, like you said, if y'all can have your opinions, we can have ours. And we can retort to anything that you say. And that's why we are the hosts.
Well, I fully expect to have a couple
Rundown.
comments in the comments on YouTube to say their piece. And that's more than welcome, but just
I don't welcome it. I don't welcome it. Get out of here with that. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
But let's get
I'm fragile.
You are fragile. Let's get on to Intergeekdom stuff.
Yes, man. So we've seen the tournament brewing. We've heard of a couple of announcements match-wise. What's on your mind when it comes to the Intergeekdom division, Frank?
So, beginning of the Cushing Markia match, Rachel and Markia, Thad pops up and lays out the rest of the tournament. And so we already have had Navarro and Adam Klavick, which he won. Jay Washington and Emma Fife won. And then we just have Rachel Cushing and Marky and McCarty. Rachel Cushing won. Yeah. And now what's being announced here is that Mike Kalinowski and Jared Haben are going to be playing. We already knew that one, but that's officially in the tournament.
We knew that it was coming. Yeah. We knew that it was coming.
Then we have Robert Meyer Burnett, Mark Donica. People already knew about that one. But then we're
Clark.
looking... As he did. Now we're looking at Mike Carlson and Eric Zipper. I think that might have been leaked ahead of time before this match, but
I think Christian
say that?
Christian said that on the show. Yeah,
that's right. That's where I heard it from. And let me tell you, I've become more and more of a fan of Eric Zipper through his first two matches and the free for all. When I first saw them against Kingsman, him and Winston, something about Eric Zipper, I was like, I think he can be very deceptively good. And then they had their match against Trek, and they pulled off that win. Both of those guys played great. Again, Eric did great, so did Winston. And then he was in the free-for-all. He had a pretty nice showing, all things considered, what that format's like. So going into this, and I've had the pleasure of talking to him a couple times, and I even talked to him for this show when they beat Trek. So very nice guy. I think he has deceptive knowledge. He likes the game. He wants to learn more about the game and be better at it. And I think he could go a long way here in Intergeekdom. Long way means at least win one match, because after that he's going to be facing people probably like Kalinowski, or even, Jared Haven's no slouch too, whoever wins that one. Rachel Cushing, Mark Donica, Robert Meyer Burnett, these are all people who are strong in the league, and he could go up against any one of them. So that's what I mean. Go far in this tournament is one match basically. But Mike Carlson didn't have the greatest debut in the 5-way. It was decent.
And remember, we were eviscerated via social media when we weren't up to date on Mike Carlson. If you remember all those months ago.
I don't know if we were eviscerated, but we were
taken to task
a little bit. But there were some people out there that were kind enough to point us in the right direction to help correct that error, and that was nice of them.
That was very nice of them.
Two other matches. Keaton Marky and Rosie Knight. So Keaton Marky, we saw her in a 5-way earlier this season, and Rosie Knight, they had pointed out from Jedi Council fame. She's been on Jedi Council now, and she is pretty good at Star Wars, I would say, if you're on Jedi Council. So that could be a huge, huge strength. You would like to believe that's one of her biggest strengths. I don't know much about Rosie outside of Jedi Council, and I don't know much about Keaton Marky outside of her 5-way, but I think Keaton will have a better match than she did in the 5-way. It wasn't terrible, wasn't one of the worst we've seen, but I think now that she's been in it, things could be better for her in this match. And for Rosie, who knows? Christian's been talking about someone who's a new superstar in this league, and this is someone we haven't seen before, and could it be Rosie? I do not know, but we're going to find out in a few weeks' time. And then the last match is going to be Coy Jandreau and Mara Kanopik. And Mara Kanopik is another new person to the Intergeekdom. And what's interesting about Mara is this is really not of any kind of consequence, but I think it's interesting to note that she is Dan Murrell's girlfriend. So, does the title pedigree rub off on Mara, or has it been the other way around? Has it been all Mara's doing that Dan Murrell is as great as he is? And
that's a nice little study buddy session over there. I mean,
right,
I'm sure they have some great answers, and they're quizzing each other all the time.
And if you had been following Murrell's Twitter account as of late, someone pointed out to me what I did a community chat last Saturday, where I was in the Facebook group and I just did a Facebook Live and popped people in from the group. And someone pointed out that Dan Murrell has been watching a lot of Intergeekdom-esque movies as of late. And they thought, well, could Dan enter the Intergeekdom? I was like, oh, that's a good observation, maybe. Or maybe he was just watching all those movies with his girlfriend who's been studying up for the Intergeekdom.
Very interesting. Very interesting there, Janisch.
Yeah.
I'm excited about these matchups. One more thing about Thad's announcement. Then we have a couple other news things I want to get to real quick before we get to the match. But Thad's announcement was interesting because when you get to round number 2, he was like, I'm still waiting to hear on how round number 2 is going to work. I mean, I am still planning it or whatever he said.
Yeah.
And then he gets first of all, there's a lot of praise for Mike Kalinowski. He called him one of the greatest players in the league, which his recent record might disagree with that statement. And he goes on to get a phone call from Mike Kalinowski.
Right. What timing?
What miraculous timing. And you know what? Mike really conveyed a bunch of information in about a 3-second phone call. So very interesting there as well. But he gets a phone call and then
probably, yeah.
Yeah, he gets a phone call and then Thad has all this other information. So still trying to figure out what blackmail Mike Kalinowski has on Thad Williams.
The interesting thing too is we're not going to get a bracket for this tournament. We're not going to get one. If you were thinking we're going to get one, we're not. It's all being handled by Mike Kalinowski in the shadows, and Thad Williams is his proxy. So don't expect to see a bracket pop out anytime soon, because it doesn't look like it's going to go that way, and it looks like if we look back on other scenes Kalinowski's been in, it looks like he's going to be orchestrating these matchups. So who knows what kind of matchups we will see in the second round. Also, Thad did say that there will be an Intergeekdom tournament match at Collision. Didn't say which one, because obviously the rest of these first round matches have to play, but I was doing the math here, and if we had one Intergeekdom match a week for the rest of the way up until Collision on July 13th, that means we would still have one left on the books when we get to... If you take like the way he listed them off in order as the way they're going to be released, because next week we do have Kalinowski and Haben, and that was the first one he said, and then he brings up Robert Meyer Burnett and Donica. I don't know the release schedule, but if they announce them in that order, maybe they're releasing them in that order, which would mean that Coy Jandreau and Mara Kanopik would play at the Collision potentially as that last first-round match, which would make sense since Dan Murrell is going to be at Collision facing Andrew Guy. Yeah. It's a nice little day there, spending at Schmoedown Studios. Or do we see a couple Intergeekdom matches in 1 week, or a doubleheader match? And do we see a round 2 match at Collision? Who knows how it's going to all shape out until we know the exact schedule.
You know, it is interesting that there's no bracket, really, and you wonder if Mike Kalinowski, like, what happens if he loses to Jared Heibon? You know?
Right.
What
Maybe
happens?
He cancels the tournament.
Does he cancel the tournament? Does he say, oh, you got to beat Mike Kalinowski twice? I get a bye from this round to go into the final? I mean, if you are manipulating Thad like a marionette, and you can make all kinds of decisions at a drop of a dime, one would have to assume that we're going to see Mike Kalinowski in the finals of this tournament. I have no inside information.
Right.
I'm just making an educated guess. You spoke on it real quick there about Andrew Guy and Dan Murrell. That's official for the Collision.
Yeah.
Right? So we know that's going to be going down. And also we know that Dan Murrell will be at the next live event on September the 8th.
Yeah, very exciting stuff, especially that live event, because by the time we get to September, it's going to be very interesting to see how the league has shaped from Collision until then, and what kind of match that could be. Could it be a title match by then? Because what hasn't been confirmed is whether or not Dan Murrell will have a match or two in between Collision and the live event. I would like to think at least one. Whether that's a team match, I don't know. Whether that's a singles match, I don't know. But I would like to think there's one maybe in there, hopefully. If not, that's just the way it goes. But because he could enter in a tournament, I don't know when the tournaments are scheduled to start taking place. But hopefully, I would think by September we've gone through a singles tournament, perhaps, or in the middle of one maybe. Maybe we get a tournament match at the live event. So you never know.
Yeah, you never know, and I think that Dan Murrell's involvement now in the live event is just going to create all that much more interest in that event on September the 8th, again at the El Portal Theater. Frank, you talked about the Intergeekdom. Why don't we get into it?
I got a couple more things here, Brad.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
All right, so real quick, because this was pretty interesting and kind of funny. I forget what day it was, but Christian put out a challenge in the Facebook group, and it was to put all the post-credit scenes together from seasons 3 through now. And whoever the first person was to do it would get a prize. Christian didn't say the prize, but he said the first person to do it would get a prize. I think someone submitted a video to him about 7 or 9 hours later, something like that. But her name was Abby Friel, and she did it first. And I looked at the runtime of the cutscenes. Brad, how long do you think it is? Between seasons 3 and 5, it's all cutscenes that are part of the storyline.
I'm going to go with an hour and a half.
It was 2 hours, 1 minute, and 32 seconds long. That's how long it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of cutscenes.
So she's going to get some sort of prize from Christian. Don't know what it is, but yeah. So and then
there you go.
Also, real quick, I did launch a stat site, and
what's up with the air quotes? Why the air quotes?
Because it's on Google's sites, not like a .com. It's I believe the web address, if you want to go to it, is sites.google.com/views/Schmoedown-stats -info. See, it's not that hard to remember, I guess. You're right.
God damn it. Just buy a domain name, Janisch.
I'm not going to buy a domain.
They're 99 cents on GoDaddy.
Not for what I want to do. And this was free, and I just spent 9 hours doing it in my life, and I'll never get that back. But I think it looks pretty good, so go ahead and check it out at
Schmoevillians out there.
It's sites.google.com/views/Schmoedown-stats-info. Super easy to remember. Just go there and get all your statistical information on all your teams and players that you're fans of. It's going good.
Schmoevillians out there. Let's all put in a penny, everyone who watches this match, and let's buy Frank Janisch a damn domain name. Because I refuse for that ridiculous IP address that you just listed, or web address you just listed. Yeah. I refuse to ever have that uttered on this program again. We need a domain name.
sites.google.com/views/Schmoedown-stats-info. It's not that hard to remember.
It is extremely difficult, and don't be a pain in the ass. All right, just everyone, let's get Janisch a domain name.
Real quick, though, before we got into the match, I did put out
Schmoedownstats.com.
I wish.
By the time people hear that, that's what it's going to be.
I wish. I did put out a throwback-esque video of a Rundown episode. It was a clip of none other than Finstock. It was from Rundown episode number 10, way back in the beginning. We had Finstock on, and it was right after he broke up with Josh McCouga, the Mega Powers, and it is the very first time that LB is ever uttered in the Schmoedown. It's the first time he ever said it, and then go ahead and check out that clip. It's on our Facebook page, Schmoedown RD, or Schmoedown Rundown, and I posted it on our Twitter, and it's in the Facebook group as well. So it's kind of funny because he says some other crazy Finstock stuff, so it's a pretty cool video.
Well, we always love Bobby Gucci, a.k.a. Finstock. So why don't we move now to the match?
Yeah, can we already, Brad? Jeez.
Man, Janisch, I mean, did you get all your plugs out of there? Jeez. Way to put yourself
Also,
over,
no.
brother. Way to go into business for yourself,
I do have
brother.
a cookbook I want to plug next, so no.
Okay, well, anyway. We alluded to it a little bit earlier, and there's really no other way to put it. This was not a pretty match. And you're going to have these, especially when you're going against someone the caliber of Rachel Cushing. But this was a knockout. This is a second-round knockout by the crusher, Rachel Cushing. And she completely dominated Marky in this match. And the Viper squad could be none too happy. And I'm going to start off this with kind of a hot take here. Marky let my guy, Jay Washington, put the batteries in her back. She let him gas her up to say, hey, why do you make your Schmoedown debut in the Intergeekdom against Rachel Cushing? It's like, and this is no disrespect to Markia, but it's like you've never watched the show before. Don't be team top that. Don't make these crucial errors. This was a dumb idea. This was not advisable. No bueno. No good. This is like Daryl Morey signing Ryan Anderson to a $20 million a year contract. This is not a good idea on any account. So, Jay Washington, I know you're like the Phil Jackson of the Viper squad. You're the coach, triangle and all. This was not the way to do your equal opportunity offense. This was not a good idea, as Michael Jordan once put the triangle offense. This is not a good idea. You really failed your teammates on this one. Bad move.
Now that is correct from the storyline perspective, but in the real life perspective, Christian went to Marquis and said, "Hey, I got an opening. It's against Rachel in this tournament. Do you want to take it?"
Kayfabe, brother.
She said yes. Yeah,
brother.
but we're not kayfabe. We're not kayfabe. So, although I would love a kayfabe scene between Markia and Jay, and Markia going to Jay being like, "What the hell did you let me do this for? Like, what are you trying to do to me?" But in real life, you watch Harloff's card pool. He said to Markia, "Hey, I got a spot open. If you want it, it's gonna be against Rachel." And she's like, "Okay." And well, this is what happened. Just want to make sure we have the facts.
I had practiced that speech though prior to our recording, so I'm a little.
Well, it did seem a little rushed, so I believe you that it was practiced. Yeah.
Was that a Ocean's 11 reference?
It was. Very
look at
good.
that. Look at that.
Because I just saw Ocean's 8, so yeah.
I did too. What'd you think of the movie?
I liked it. Once we got
was
into the
okay.
heist part, once we got into the heist, that was the fun part. The lead up was, I think it dragged on a little too long to lead up to the heist, but it was fine. But the heist stuff was great.
Did you like? What was your? I guess should we not spoil anything? I guess we shouldn't spoil anything.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't. But
No.
But Anne Hathaway was my favorite in that movie, though. I liked her part.
Is that what you liked?
Yes, that's what I liked. Yeah. That's what I said.
There's some good cameos. There's some good cameos.
Yeah, there's some good ones there. Yeah.
I mean, not even just like character cameos, like some celebrity cameos.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it's at the Met, so it's like
it's at the Met, so of course you're going to see the Kardashians, and I gotta say, Kylie Jenner. I mean, well, man, brother,
okay,
brother. Anyway, let's talk about the match. Round number 1, I think that the writing was all the way on the wall.
Yeah,
I believe it was. Were we 5 questions in when Markia scored her first point?
No, 3 on her third.
3.
Yeah, so it was 3-1 at that point because Rachel had not missed. She got a perfect round and the bonus this round, the first round of this match. But 3-1's like, okay, let's start from here. I get it's your first match. You missed the first couple ones. Maybe Lord of the Rings and Star Trek are not in your wheelhouse. That's fine. But the rest of the way, hopefully it pans out. But then she missed another 3 before she got a DCEU question right, and then she missed another 2, but then she ends up missing or hitting the last question, the Harry Potter scores and soundtrack question. So she took big gaps in between getting her answers correct, whereas Rachel did not miss a single question. So yeah,
Now, has Rachel gone perfect in Intergeekdom before, or was this the first time in Intergeekdom?
She did. I think it was a different format that she went perfect in. I believe it was because this was the first time she was in the 10-question first round format. I do believe. I gotta double check that.
Okay, well, while you check on that, I gotta say, when we saw the round playing out, especially when we were up 3, I think when she was up 2-0, and then it was 3-1, and then it ended up being what was the final score, like 10-4 or something like that? I can't remember.
20-5, man.
No, I'm talking about the final score.
The first round?
First round.
11-3.
11-3. Okay, it was 11-3.
Still,
I was close. But 11-3, when I saw that, I mean, it was just a no-brainer at that point. I think any time that you're about to double your opponent, let alone, triple or quadruple your opponent in round one, it's, there's a very small opportunity for you to come back from something like that, even if you got a favorable category in round number 2, which honestly, Markia didn't do so hot in her round number 2, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. So I just knew. I mean, I knew when she came out as Peggy Carter, this was over.
Well, yeah, great. It was a great. I was like, I heard that music. I'm like, who is that? And then she came out. I thought it was like Carmen Sandiego. I was like, no, that's not Carmen Sandiego. But real quick, going back to her last match, Rachel Cushing was against Kalinowski, and that's when they had a 12-question first round. She got the first 10 in that one correct. Then went 1 of 2 on the final 2. She missed the James Bond and then hit the hop. That's when they put in Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, and James Bond, all that whole mess. That's when they added those in. So
it's not a mess.
So
James Bond deserves to be in the Intergeekdom.
Okay, that's another show. She's played in different formats in the Intergeekdom for most of the way. So this was the first time she was in the 10-question plus 1 bonus format. So yeah.
So she did. This was like her first, at least in this format, her first official perfect round in this format. I mean, Chris, I want to throw it to you. I mean, when you started seeing this round unfold, especially at the rapid rate, the gap between Markia and Rachel Cushing's numbers on the board was, what were you thinking? Did you think that Markia had a, to use a Southern phrase, snowball's chance in hell in this match?
I don't even think she could have found any snow to use the snowball. This entire first round was a mess. It was a hell in a handbasket. It was a one-way train on a broken track, a ticker on a bomb. You cannot turn back.
Oh my good dear Lord, Chris!
Screwed. Oh, mamacita.
Oh
she was screwed. She was really screwed. But look, are you guys okay?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Chris is going in. I did not expect this. But continue.
Chris, we are shills. What are you doing? You're going completely off script. This is not sanctioned. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. But it was.
We do not endorse the comments of Chris Clark in this segment.
Oh well, no, I meant like she kind of she didn't have a chance. Like I mean, what she did, she has to be commended though, because her personality and her spunk is really good for the actual Schmoedown brand itself, and how she performed was really, really well. The only sad fact is she debuted against Rachel Cushing, and you do not want to put that on your worst enemy. So I mean, for what she did, she probably could have done a lot better against somebody like Dorian, or maybe in a 5-way. Maybe she would have done really good in a 5-way to debut.
Coy.
But debuting like this, or Coy, but debuting like this,
which is kind of a shot at
the luck
Coy,
was already but debuting like this, it probably didn't do her any favors. And after the first round, it was obvious, but I hope to see her again. She shouldn't. I hope she doesn't take any. It's not discouraging for her. So it is what it is.
Go ahead, Frank.
Go ahead, Frank.
Oh, yeah, I like Markia and what she personality-wise, what she brings to the Schmoedown. I thought her demeanor throughout the match really, at least in my eyes, was very unwavering, and she was very stone cold and just. It looked like it didn't really affect her, although I'm sure inside she was going, what the hell have I got myself into? But I would like to see Markia pop. I don't care if she pops up in Intergeekdom teams or singles. I'd just like to see her in some form or fashion, just for, if nothing else, just a little redemption, if she wants to.
You know, I also thought, though, that I think she made some errors of a first-timer, right? Utilizing the JTE rules a little bit better. She asked for clarification on that Guardians of the Galaxy question, which I'll actually give her to. I think you could have technically answered any of the Guardians, and it would have been correct, because I think the answer was, who assisted Star-Lord?
Oh, yeah, but
with a mechanical leg to escape prison.
Yeah, the key part in that question is the leg, though. So
yeah, it is, but it isn't, because if you do recall, Star-Lord stole the leg, right? And Rocket didn't have any use for it. He just told them to steal the leg, and it was just more of a joke. And they all escaped from prison together with the help of each other. So I really think you could have, like, say you said Groot, right? I don't think you would have been wrong had you challenged it, because it says who assists Star-Lord with the help of a. Well, no one assists him with the help of the mechanical.
Is that the actual?
Nobody does.
Is that the actual wording?
Let's pull it up.
Yeah.
Let's pull it up as we discussed, because I think that the way that it was worded, you could have used any. You could have said any character, and I think it would have been correct. And you know what? She asked for clarification on it. She wasn't granted it, so there's a little bit of a gripe there. But I mean, she still got it right?
Yeah, she still put it right.
Yeah, she still got it right. But I still think that I don't know. I think that anything could have been asked there, and it would have been okay to use. Frank.
See, I was thinking about that too, and then I was thinking, well, looking at the wording of the question, they asked, okay, in Guardians of the Galaxy, who helped Star-Lord break out of prison with a fellow prisoner's metal leg? The only people that are involved with the metal leg is Star-Lord and Rocket, right? So since they said Star-Lord,
not really.
Who touches the leg?
Not really.
Who else touches the leg?
Only Star-Lord.
Rocket doesn't touch the leg?
No,
I thought he did.
He just tells him to steal the leg.
Just tells him, okay. But none of the
I mean, he's involved in the
those
discussion
are the only
of the
two
leg.
people. Yeah, they're the only two people. That's what I'm saying that are involved with the leg at all.
Look, in Guardians of the Galaxy, who helps Star-Lord break out of prison? Let's stop right there. Let's just stop right there. We'll get to the rest. Let's stop right there. Who helps him break out of prison? Groot, Drax, Rocket, Gamora. They all help, okay? So let's continue. With a fellow prisoner's metal leg. Well, the metal leg wasn't used to break out of prison. The only person that carried the metal leg was Star-Lord. So I really think you could have answered anybody to this and would have had grounds for a challenge had you been told you were incorrect.
I think you could have challenged it, sure. But when you say metal leg, you're clearly looking for Rocket.
You're looking
if you've
for
seen
Rocket.
the movie, you know you're looking for Rocket.
You're looking for Rocket, absolutely. That's what the question wants you to answer. I'm just saying, had you answered anything else, I think you would have had legitimate grounds with the phrasing of the question and with the way the movie was.
I can get on board with that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Now, a couple other things that sunk Marky in my estimation was, one was the Superman Returns question, saying it was Zack Snyder. I don't know if you have any DC-ish. If you're going to go with DC and you're in Intergeekdom, I think that's kind of a low-hanging fruit. Maybe you should get. And then the fatal error that I think that she made, which was a big steal for Rachel Cushing, which further helped her get this knockout win, was the Batman question of Batman 89. How much money did Joker say he was going to drop on the city of Gotham? You don't know, which is fine. And you know how many? I think the question was how many millions of dollars. I think was the question.
Yeah.
And so, first off, you go to I know.
It's
you go to multiple choice, which is fine, which I would have done too. I would probably been like, let me see the answers. And I believe it's like 1 million, 20 million, 50 million, and 100 million.
Yeah.
And already with the way the question's phrased, how many million? You know it's not 1 million. And she, right? I mean, at least I would assume so. How many million? Well, 1 million is singular. So, but when it comes to the answer choices, 50 million seems like a little bit much. 100 million seems like a little bit much. So 20 million, if you're using like deductive reasoning, makes the most sense, especially in 1989, right?
Yeah, but that's my point. 1989, like $1 million in 1989 is a gigantic sum of money that would make sense to a criminal like that. And my other reference point would be when you talk about Austin Powers. Remember when Dr. Evil's like $1 million, and people are like, $1 million? That's like
but
nothing.
he was like 60s, right?
Exactly, that's my point. Because in the 60s, he thought $1 million was a lot of money. 1989, $1 million's still a lot of money. It's not.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
That's where I'm getting at.
I hear you, but just back to the way the question was phrased. How many million? So it's like not 1 million. How many million? But at least she got part of it. She thought she got it right. She said 2 million, which wasn't an answer choice. And I think that was a really big error on her end because I think it was one of those caught up in the lights moments, right? To where, 2 million. And then they didn't give it to her. Which, has that happened before? When someone says an answer that's not a multiple choice answer?
Ooh,
I don't know.
I think there's been mispronunciation, but not quite.
Not just going with a different answer. Case. That's not, yeah. So she says 2 million. Of course, that wasn't an answer choice. She meant 20 million. Rachel got that steal. I just thought that was another error by hers that really helped cement this win for Rachel Cushing.
So I need to retract everything I just said because I legitimately thought the answer was 1 million in my mind. Because I remember, because I remember thinking I didn't know the answer, so I was like, well, 1989, $1 million. So everything I just said, I sound like a damn idiot, and it's okay if we leave it in.
Well, that's typical.
No, it's true. So I was, and then we're going on. I'm like, no, it was 20 million. Son of a bitch. Yeah. So
I'm not cutting that.
That's fantastic.
Thanks, Chris. So anyway, I thought those were a couple of the big errors that she made. That really, to me, it was first. I don't want to say it was first time jitters, but it first time out. Sometimes you're still getting used to the way the game's played.
But I think she knows the game as a rookie better than we've seen most debuts.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely knew she had those repeats to go to, and that's a big advantage.
And maybe Jay's off in the background. We can't see Jay, so maybe he's saying, hey, go to multiple choice. That could be part of it, too. I don't know. That's pure speculation on my part. So maybe Jay was being a good manager in that sense, saying, hey, remember, you got multiple choice. But I don't know if that's happening or if Marky is recalling on her own. But nonetheless, whatever happened there, it was a good... that wasn't, in my opinion, the downfall of her game. Because she used them when she needed to, and then she went to multiple choice and knew all about that stuff. So it was just knowing the answers, actually.
No, and I'm with you 150. I'm with you 150%. It's just... I don't know. I think that once again, you just had a bad first opponent, right? I mean, you just had somebody who we all knew was pretty much going to dominate,
and that's part of it because the other part here is she got 5 out of 15 questions she was asked, and 2 of those came on steals in Star Trek. So my main issue here with Markia is the first round, just 3 points on general, broad Intergeekdom knowledge. That's an issue going forward if you want to be competitive in Intergeekdom. You can sometimes squeak by like that in a singles division or teams where you might hit a bad category, a couple bad categories, or just weird deep cut questions in the first round or second round. But in Intergeekdom, if you don't know these general, again, it's relative to Intergeekdom, these general knowledge questions of Intergeekdom, where you're going to get the same 8 categories, and she only answered 2 out of the 8. This is not counting the mixed bag or the bonus, because she didn't answer the bonus. If you only get 2 out of the 8 core categories in the first round, I think you got to go back and rewatch the movies you've seen, and go watch movies you haven't seen Intergeekdom, because Intergeekdom is completely studyable. You can absolutely study for the Intergeekdom. I'm not saying she can never compete in Intergeekdom again, but what I am saying, and I would recommend for anyone, I mean, even like Rachel and Jason and Mike Kalinowski, they go back and rifle through all these movies because it is very studyable. So there's no doubt in my mind that Markia, while she only got 3, I think she does have a lot of homework to do if she wants to have another match in the Intergeekdom.
No, and you're right. You're 100% right. Do your homework, and I think she'll have a better outing if she continues to stay in Intergeekdom. One last thing I want to say about this match is props to Rachel Cushing. I think that she felt confident enough in her abilities that she could take a risk by going with Star Trek instead of one of her normals. One of her norms are respinning and trying to get something that she's more comfortable with. I think she knew she was confident in her play, and that even if she had a bad round 2, she still had a big lead. So this was an opportunity for her to test herself and to see how much she knew. And I think one of them was, it was Star Trek 6, the Forgotten Planet or whatever it was.
Country, I think it was.
The Undiscovered Country. And she knew the name of the planet off the top, and I was like, whoa. And it wasn't even like,
it was
just boom. She just went boom. I know it.
Right.
I know it right now. So just once again, scary, scary knowledge from Rachel Cushing. Her abilities can never be overstated. She is a monster.
Her round 2 decision, stick with Trek, I thought was brilliant in this case because you're right. She had a huge lead. She's up 11-3.
Yeah.
Giant lead. And now she's in a scenario, in a situation where she can afford to take a shot on a category that just so happens to be a huge strength of the champs, Jason Inman. Now, she wants to beat him.
I didn't think of that.
She's got to neutralize somehow Jason Inman's strength. So now you're right, she tested herself in a category perhaps that she's been working on, and she found herself in the perfect situation to test her knowledge, to see what kind of questions are coming out. Now, and so there's that aspect, and the second thing is now you've just drained another 5 questions out of that category. So a category in which Jason Inman likes a lot. So now there's this theory that as you get deeper into a category, the questions may get harder and harder. So now you're getting possibly theoretically harder questions going forward, perhaps in the Star Trek category, a category in which that's Inman's strength, which could now be somewhat neutralized by the difficulty of level of the question the next time someone spends Star Trek. So there's a lot of things going on by taking Star Trek. Now you
three-dimensional chess by Rachel Cushing there.
Now, if you ask Jason Inman, I don't know this for a fact, but let's say you ask Jason Inman, you go, do you know all 5 of those? And he goes, yes. Well, guess what? You just took away 5 questions he knew that he will never now get in a match.
That's a great point.
And Rachel tested herself in Star Trek, and she's seeing what kind of questions are still being floated out there in that category. And I thought it was a great move because she did have the lead, and 2, it was basically just a test at that point to see where she's at with Star Trek, which is a huge strength of Jason Inman. So I loved all of that.
This is why you're on the show, Frank. What a great observation! Wow, great stuff there.
I had a couple days off of work, so
you've had too many days. But I am seeing something that Chris Clark wants to discuss.
Breaking news as we're
us.
recording this.
Yes, we are recording this a bit early, and Christian Harloff has now announced something that Chris is going to clue us in on. Chris, take it away.
While we're recording this, breaking the fourth wall, Christian just went live Q&A with Riley.
Jesus, the man is crazy with these.
With Riley in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook group. I don't know if we're going to keep this in the edit or not, but apparently Jason Bateman versus Mance is happening, and after that, the winner will be playing Rocha.
Wait, you said
Bateman versus Mance.
I thought you said Jason Bateman. I was like, wait.
Oh, God, no.
What now?
No, he did say Jason Bateman.
Did he
you mean Ben Bateman.
Did I say Jason Bateman?
You did. I was like,
I was like,
Mance?
that's a fun match.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, I meant Ben Bateman. Ben Bateman is playing Scott Mance, and they will be, the winner will be playing Rocha, so we could get Mance Rocha 3.
We could get Mance Rocha 3. We could get a one-on-one match with Action and top 10, the leaders of those 2 teams. Also, I would love to see movie release dates come up on that board between those 2 guys.
Ooh,
Holy
Lordy.
hell. Well, guys, that breaking news, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more of the Schmoedown Rundown.
What's up, everybody? It's your man, Brad Gilmore. I want to shout out one of our newest supporters, and that is Audible. Audible.com is home of hundreds of thousands. I'm not even joking. Hundreds of thousands of audiobooks, and they want to offer a special trial for you, the listeners of the Schmoedown Rundown. So it'll be a 30-day free trial. You get to download one audiobook that you get to keep forever. So whether you cancel it before the 30 days are up, or if you want to keep the service, it doesn't matter. You get to keep that audiobook forever. And when you get that audiobook and you sign up with audibletrial.com/schmoedown, that's audibletrial.com/schmoedown, what that'll do is that will help us here at the Schmoedown Rundown. It'll put a little extra dinero in our pockets, but we'll use the money for good and not evil. We'll try to do more things like the Rundown Schmoedown. Maybe we need a rematch between me and Paul Wolf. Maybe me and Aaron Turner need to break that tie. Maybe Frank Janisch needs another opportunity to impress. You can do that, and you can help us out with all kinds of production costs. We got to look out for our man, Chris Clark. So if you go to audibletrial.com/schmoedown right now, you will help us out. And look, I'm not just talking just to talk. I'm a user. Look at this. I am a user of Audible. There's Audible. This is some of the books that I'm reading right now. Here are the last 4 books. All right, I finished Crichton. I'm reading We Don't Need Roads, The Making of Back to the Future. No surprise there. Seinfeldia, How a Show About Nothing Became the Biggest Show on Earth, by Jennifer Armstrong. Catch Me If You Can by William Abagnale, which I think is a top 3 Spielberg movie, and I'm reading the book. And then The Disaster Artist by Greg Cisnero. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm reading right now. That's what you're hearing right now when I'm driving around the beautiful state of Texas. So go to audibletrial.com/schmoedown, audibletrial.com/schmoedown. Sign up for free today. Helps you, helps us, helps the world. Let's do it.
But you were already gone, and you came late to the interview, and you basically said to Josh, "Hey, man, you're a loser. I'm moving on. Check out the Operation Dumbo drop shirt. Get a hint." I guess my first question, and I guess the question that we all have is why?
Because he displays something called LB.
Okay.
Loser behavior. Okay. He has become a loser behavior specialist, and I try to distance myself from specialists that I guess promote loser behavior, and what happened was, obviously the styles were really close together, and I felt like we were too close. It was too similar on so many different levels. I'm talking like chest definition. I'm talking like drinking, chicks, getting chicks in the street, all kinds of things. It was too close. It was too much. We were morphing into one person. Bob Finstock stands alone.
All right, welcome back from that short little break, graced by Finstock's voice when he first introduced the Schmoedown world to LB, Loser Behavior. Hope you enjoyed that throwback episode. Way back from Schmoedown, episode number 10. Schmoedown Rundown, episode number 10. That was, I think it was like November of 2016 or something like that. It was a long time ago, it seems like. And it is. So, you also may notice Brad's not here, and that's because we recorded the first part of this episode Wednesday, day after the Intergeekdom match, and then we weren't sure with logistics and whatnot what we were going to be able to do. Unfortunately, Brad's traveling, and I'll be traveling, and so Brad couldn't make it for this part, but me and Chris are gonna break down the Drew McWeeny and Ethan Irwin match real quick. So, let's go ahead and get started with that, because this was a pretty big match on paper, right? Ethan Irwin, he's had 2 strong matches. Drew McWeeny, he just won the team titles with Sam Levine. He's had a pretty good, he's had a decent run in singles so far, and this is going to be a real test. Chris, going into this match, what were your expectations?
Well, look, you have 2 people who did really, really well in the Schmoedown free for all, which we were both there for, Frank. And we love Drew. Drew is amazing. He knows his stuff. But Ethan Irwin, we had no idea who that guy was at free for all, and he's just been killing it and killing it and killing it. So going into this match, I was expecting it to be high scoring, to the death, and I mean, it's a match, and it was good, but I don't think it met the expectations of me personally. I don't know about you, but to me, the match itself didn't meet those expectations. It was still a solid match, but I feel we didn't see the best of either competitor.
Yeah, I think if you're a prisoner of the moment, right after this match, you go, that wasn't exactly what I was expecting. It was a good match, but I feel like it didn't live up to the hype. It didn't live up to some of the what people were thinking, this is going to be one of the all-time matches, right? And that's because this first round starts off pretty slow, relatively speaking, but then after that, rounds 2 and 3 are actually really, really great. And I think maybe perhaps, at least for me, I think the first round kind of tainted how great the match could be,
Yeah, but because look, Drew missed the first 3 out of his 4 questions.
Yeah.
That's never happened to him before. This is probably, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, I think it was his weakest round 1 to date. I don't know, but I feel like
it's a safe bet to say, yeah.
Yeah, you would expect on a bad day maybe Drew would miss 3 questions in round 1. Here he missed a chunk, and I feel like it was probably just an off day. People have off games in sports. This is just an off game for him. Ethan did a sizable job too. I'm kind of disappointed neither of them got perfects. I would have expected them to do a little bit better, but that question about Karate Kid about the painting of the house, that's a deep cut. So I they're human. So it is what it is. And the round 1 kind of cements that they are human and the Russian can be cut.
Yeah. So let's dive into round 1 here. It ends 4-5, Ethan Irwin with a 1-point lead. We talked about that Karate Kid question. It's kind of a deep cut, I agree. If you hadn't seen the movie recently, it's kind of a tough one. I had even seen Karate Kid pretty recently because I watched Cobra Kai on YouTube Red, and I went back and watched Karate Kid, and I could remember, I just couldn't remember the color, and I had literally watched the movie probably like a week or 2 ago. So that's an understandable miss. The one hiccup that Drew had was the Patriots Day question. Ethan Irwin writes Patriots Day, Drew McWeeny writes Patriot Day, and he kind of calls it on himself, and the desk calls it out, and it's like, So that's 1 point taken away from Drew McWeeny there. So that adds to his only getting 1 out of his 4 questions. He could have had 2 out of the 4. That I thought was that was unfortunate for Drew, and in the end, it didn't really matter. But I think that one kind of told just the kind of day Drew was going to have in this match. It was going to be a tough sledding match for Drew.
Yeah, look, you mentioned the Patriots Day thing. I feel like had he not said anything and just said Patriots Day, and I don't know if they would have caught that. Had they not caught that, that would have been a huge issue entirely.
Real quick on that, Chris, I was there for this match, actually, and I think as Drew is like, I said Patriot Day, and Mark and Christian are at the same time. I think they're also going, he said Patriot Day. They didn't verbalize it like Drew did, and then they got in a little bit of discussion, and then that's when they finally agreed. And I think, so it wasn't so much that had no one said anything that I don't think they're just going to skip over it. I think it was more of, you heard Drew kind of verbalize it while Christian and Mark were internally going over it in their mind or whatnot.
Yeah, it's again, you're human. That stuff happens. Right. So I mean, is what it is. It could have been a closer round 1, as I was explaining. It would have been preferable if it was kind of a little bit lackluster, in my opinion, just because these are 2 titans of the league. You would expect them to probably be a little bit more heavy hitting out of the gate. But you know what? Is what it is, and it was still solid. But going into round 2, things changed. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to wrap up the round 1 here, it's 5-4. That's a close score, right?
Yeah.
But I think you and others are expecting 8-7, 9-8, something like that. Something crazy was going to happen in the first round. Didn't really get that, and it's odd that Drew McWeeny's woes in the first round in singles division in the singles league continue to be very mediocre compared to his near perfect first rounds in the team division. I mean, he's been perfect in the teams division in the first round 3 times, and he's averaging like 7.5 points because he gets 9, 7.
Yeah.
Once I think he hit like 6 or 5 in one of the early matches. He's been a beast in the first round in teams. Just hasn't transferred over for singles for whatever reason.
I chalk that up to, I think it's atmosphere. Teams as a match in itself is just the atmosphere. Him and Sam. Like, having Sam by his side probably helps him a lot, and it's probably just it's just atmospheric for that. And I feel like for teams, he probably has something in his head that just gives him that urge to keep on going. I don't know. He just seems more driven in teams. I guess that's what I'm saying. Is that in teams he seems like he's more of a force. In singles competition, he's been a good player. I haven't seen him be nearly as good as he has been in teams, but I guess that's a fair assessment.
Now, getting into round 2, Ethan Irwin with the 1-point lead elects to go first. He passes on Animated, lands on Clint Eastwood. He goes 4 for 4 for the full 8 points. Real quick here, in 3 matches now, Ethan Irwin has not missed one single question in the second round. You go back to his first match against Machado, and he also did 4 of 4 for 8 points. And then you look back again at his Lon Harris match. He went 4 for 4 for 7 points. This guy's only missed 1 point in 3 matches when it comes to second round questions, his own second round questions. That's a hell of a run, and that's going to put you in position in every single match to pull out a victory and to make a good title run, which he is on now. We'll get to that later at the end of the match, but Ethan Irwin, 4 for 4, 8 points. Drew McWeeny, he passes on Drew Barrymore, gets comedy. He goes 4 for 4, but has to go to multiple choice a couple times. Still pulls out 6 points, so neither player missing a point, giving an opportunity for a steal to their opponent. I thought this is when the match really started to pick up, and especially when Irwin went 4 for 4, laid down the gauntlet. McWeeney's got to answer the call. He does as good as he can here in the second round. It's not quite enough. Now he's down by 3. Chris, what did you think of this second round, and do you think this elevated the match more as it went on?
Yeah, as I said, it changed because you saw what was happening in Drew's head. Like, he could not risk anything. That's why he was going to multiple choice, because had Ethan stolen a couple of those points, we could have easily been talking knockout territory. So this was a good call for Drew to not take those risks and to play it safe. His style of gameplay here was very conniving, and it was very, very good, and he was playing the game correctly. Ethan, oh my God, I think Christian in the match actually mentioned this, but I'm going to ask you, Frank, is this the fastest round 2 anybody's ever had? I don't know if you have speed stats, but that was just ridiculous. I think he got them. It was under a minute that he got that entire swept. Yeah, he swept in under a minute, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I did not time it. I don't recall during the watching it live. I don't recall there being any lulls either. So, I can't imagine there's that many. There would be an edit here that kind of sped it up. Or cut like a chunk of 30 seconds out. I don't think so. I think that was all real time happening, and I think it's pretty safe to say that's the quickest round 2's ever gone by. I think maybe Bibbs might have had a pretty quick second round here or there. Yeah. That's certainly possible, but. Jesus, this was ridiculous. It was like a lightning round. It was like a speed round without having a speed round.
I forget about the tail of the tape. But is Clint Eastwood a strength of his? Because it seems like it. That's interesting. Or westerns.
I just think movies.
No, movies. Okay.
Just in general, they're all his strengths. This was a great second round to follow up a very mediocre first round, as we had talked about. So I was happy to see the level of play start picking up here, because this is what we expect from these two people, and they certainly started to deliver here in the second round. Now, going into the final round here, Ethan Irwin again is up 13-10. McWeeny, he's got to answer a couple questions here to even send it back to Ethan Irwin. So he gets his first 2-pointer correct, gets his spy category question incorrect. The answer was supposed to be Alfred Hitchcock, right? For
Alfred Hitchcock, yes. He said something else.
Secret agent, yeah. Mm-hmm. I couldn't quite make out what he said. I didn't even recognize.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so it goes back to Ethan Irwin, and he gets named the actor who played the Jock in Breakfast Club. It's Emilio Estevez. That's a pretty simple 2-pointer. And then it goes back to Drew McWeeny, and it's sports category. I don't know how that's going to go, but then he gets what 1981 sports comedy stars Burt Reynolds, Roger Moore, and Farrah Fawcett. It's not even a sweat on his brow. Answers Cannonball Run, sends it back to Ethan Irwin. Now, Ethan Irwin, he's got an easy job here. He's just got to hit the westerns, and he couldn't quite pull it out. It was his question was who played the villainous Curly Bill in '93's Tombstone. He says Michael Biehn. It's Powers Booth, and so now here we are at the final question of the match, and this is what I thought was going to happen all along. We just took a different route to get there. It wasn't full of greatness in the first round and the second round, just the second round. Third round, both players hitting their 2, both missing their 3, and now comes on to Ethan Irwin. Got hit his 5-pointer. It's in the category of 90s. The question was, who played the father of the family lead into a comedy adventure by Kurt Russell in the 1992 comedy Captain Ron? And I know we have some Captain Ron fans out there, and the answer was Martin Short. Ethan Irwin nails it for the 5 points and puts up 20 points to Drew McWeeney's 17. He had a hell of a match here. Both guys really did. Aside from that first round, even though the first round was fine, great win for Ethan Irwin. He is now the 12th different player to go 3-0, to have a 3-game win streak, I should say. He's the 12th different player in singles league history to do it. Drew McWeeny, he takes another L in the column, and he's a little upset at that as well. Chris, what were your thoughts on this final third round?
This entire third round, it was kind of writing on the wall, because look, as much of an ample job Drew did to try to salvage the deficit that he had. I think he had a 3-point deficit.
Yeah.
Not many people recover from 5 points, and that's only 2 points shy. So the writing was on the wall at the beginning, sadly. But even on top of that, I don't think Ethan Irwin, in the short time that he's been in the league, has ever gotten 2 questions wrong in a row. Yes, he has gotten questions wrong, but that's a very rare sight. To have him get 2 questions wrong in a row would be like hell freezing over. And I knew as soon as it was up to him to get his last 2 things, the money was already in the bag. But, I mean, Drew's performance was still solid. I mean, he made the human mistake of the Alfred Hitchcock question. But, Ethan deserved this win. He's gonna, moving forward, he's easily a contender to be a champion. I can see Drew learning from his mistakes, and probably in his next match we might be seeing a different Drew McWeeny. That's my take.
Yeah, so let's talk about Ethan Irwin and his campaign for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
I went back and looked at Clark Wolf's year and Rachel Cushing's year when they won Rookie of the Year in their respective years. Clark Wolf, she ended that year 3-1, answering 70% of her questions. She won Rookie of the Year. And then last year, Rachel Cushing, she had a year where she went 3-1, and it was answering 77% of her questions. Now Ethan Irwin, through 3 matches, he's 3-0. He's answering 84% correct. So he's got another match coming up. We don't know if it's going to be a number 1 contender match or what kind of match it's going to be. I would like to think it's going to hopefully be a number 1 contender match to get to a title match, because if he had to win 5 matches to get to a title shot, that's a lot. And I know it's not like years past where the field is small, where Clark, I think she won 3 in a row and then got a title shot against Merle. That was a different time in the league. The league was just starting out. So Ethan Irwin, I think, is definitely odds-on favorite to be Rookie of the Year. There's a couple other people that got to make some runs. I mean, Janine, she's sitting at 2-0. If she can go on a crazy run here, she can give Ethan Irwin a real run for his money. And then you have, I was thinking about Eric Zipper from World's Finest. He's done pretty well so far, 2-0 in teams. If they beat the Shire Wolves and he performs really well, and then we see how he does in Intergeekdom, because we know he's got a match coming up there now. He could certainly throw his name in the hat, so it's not a done deal. That's going to be a runaway job for Ethan Irwin yet. There's still some things that need to play out here, but still, you have to admit he is the front runner. But there are people who can give him a run for his money if certain things play out a certain way, right? So, Chris, what do you think about Ethan Irwin and his chances of being Rookie of the Year. It's pretty high, right?
I think they're astronomically high. Had Donica,
Sure.
had Donica won the championship, I would be singing a different tune, but he didn't. But his meteor, I think the only person in contention for Rookie of the Year is Donica, and actually Janine, because correct me if I'm wrong, Janine and Irwin have the same record, right?
Well, Janine's 2-0 right now.
Yeah.
And just got his third win.
Oh, it's 3-3.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind, scratch that. But Janine is also getting up there if she wins her next match. So let's say Janine does that, and they verse. I think that we could potentially see a Rookie of the Year fight between Janine and Erwin.
That would be interesting, yes.
And the stipulation is whoever wins is crowned Rookie of the Year. They're not going to take it to a vote. That would be interesting. I don't know if that would ever happen, but that could be the case. I don't know, but also I can see him going for the title because again we have Bibbs versus Snyder happening before Collision, which means that Bibbs, or hopefully Bibbs, but Snyder too, either one of them is going to go up against Sam. Winner of that,
Collision,
after Collision. So after Collision, Owen will probably get a couple matches under his belt. We could totally see him being a number one contender easy. You bet Vegas on that because either way, we're going to see a lot more of Ethan this season.
It's going to be interesting too because we have Collision coming up. The title match will not be played there. It'll be played after Collision, and then after that, you're going to get a couple singles matches peppered in during the team tournament run. It's going to start after Collision. And then right after teams is the singles tournament. Now, here's the interesting thing is Ethan Irwin with this record, let's say he doesn't play another match. Let me say he plays one match between now and that singles tournament after Collision or after the singles title after Collision. Now, let's say he's theoretically 4-0. Is he going to have to go through that tournament and potentially have to be 8-0 to get a shot at the title?
I would think
seems like a bad run of luck, but or do they set up something right before the tournament where there's a title match there because Christian's talking about the next title match would then after Collision would be at Spectacular. Ethan Irwin's record does throw a wrench in things.
I would think that, I think they might, if Ethan does get a fourth win, Christian would probably say, okay, we need to do a title match before the Ultimate Schmoedown, because I think they had the title match of Harloff versus Merle last year before the Ultimate Schmoedown. Right. Yeah, so that was it. Yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So I think that was a special occasion thing because Christian again didn't expect to beat Bibiani for the title shot. So Snyder. Yeah. So it would have just been that. I would assume that they would have a title shot before the Ultimate Schmoedown, because having him go into a tournament, as you said, and potentially be 8-0 is ridiculous. So have the title shot before. I would just do that. I
wonder if they'll give Irwin an option. He goes, if you get 4-0, you don't have to go to the tournament. After the tournament concludes, you can wait till after the tournament winner faces. I don't know. They got to try and maybe figure something out.
It's easier for them to make the title shot. That's the problem.
Exactly. I don't know exactly what they do because to make Ethan win another 4 matches, if he goes 4-0, or even let's say he doesn't play until the tournament, now he's still going to be 7-0 going up against.
Well, yeah.
It's
how Sam Levine was, right? I think Sam Levine ended that tournament like 5-0 or something. I forget.
Well, he lost his first 2 matches of that year, then went on that
Never
run.
mind. You're right.
So,
never mind. Yeah, but anything could happen. Like, seriously. Whatever happens. It's all about scheduling.
So, one thing I want to say to you about this Rookie of the Year campaign, as I mentioned before in this episode, started a site you can visit for stats, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a full Rookie of the Year campaign breakdown between Clark Wolf, Rachel Cushing, and Ethan Irwin. It's going to be kind of a comparison, comparing their years, so you can take a look at that. I think I'm going to have that up probably on the site on Monday, that comparison, so if you want to go ahead and check out the site, which is super easy to remember, right, Chris?
Oh, it's super easy to remember.
Yeah,
it's also in the
slash. Is it in the description?
It's down the layout too. I'm just going to put it in the layout.
It's just sites.google.com/view/schmoedown-stats-info. Super easy to remember. Just go there and you get all your stat info. All right. So wrapping up now, at least this episode, we got a cutscene with Drew because he storms off, walks, makes a beeline for Thad's office after talking to Jen Sturger, and he's pounding on Thad's door, on Thad's window, and we get a little peek at Thad, and he's cowering under his dress, or under his desk. And not dress. That would be
great. That would be Rocky Horror Schmoedown show. Oh wow!
It's funny too because like I didn't realize there wasn't like a backing on Thad's desk, and I thought like maybe Thad's just pulling like a George Costanza sleeping under his desk, where he's got the whole thing going on. But Drew, he wants to talk to Thad. He's like, "You gave me Irwin. You SOB. You gave me Irwin, and look what happened." But Drew was happy to face Ethan Irwin because he's a high caliber player, and he proved it here in this match. And then I guess let's touch on Ethan Irwin's post match. He went Sam Levine yesterday. He's ready for it, and I think he really is. But that's not the way things work. So he's got at least another. I guess it seems like one more match before he's going to face.
He's probably not going to get Sam Levine. He's going to get William Bibbiani. That's what he's going to get. So
that's what you're hoping, yeah. And it very well could be. What'd you think of their post-match comments, Chris?
I mean, it's fine. I think the biggest one. I mean, I kind of foresaw Ethan calling out Sam because he really does know his stuff, and he is a contender for the championship. But the theatrics and the stuff with Drew, I just have to commend more and more. I love how Drew is kind of encompassing this kind of Wilson Fisk kingpin kind of persona where he is like the mafioso of the Schmoedown, and it's either his way or the highway. And I loved how Thad was cowering in fear from a giant monster coming and crashing into his office. It was great, and I just love what they're doing with Drew and the theatrics involved. And it's just more of these cutscenes I love because I forget who did the cut, the ultimate cut of all of the cutscenes together. That was fantastic. It's just adding more and more to that movie, and I hope that 2-hour thing becomes like a 4-hour thing when the whole season is done. So I just enjoy that.
But then you also have Kalinowski coming in, really twisting Thad's arm now with this Intergeekdom tournament. So it seems like Thad can be manipulated in certain ways, more so than other, depending on
he's a coward, and it's a great. Yeah.
Depending on how hard you go at Thad, you can kind of almost get anything you want. It seems like with these two examples we've seen.
Yeah, I mean he's a pushover, and I feel like I'm wondering if because he's also done this with Brienne too. He's cowered with Brienne with the whole Finstock thing as well. So
true.
Yeah, that we can't forget that. So it's not just Mike, it's not just Drew, it's just the character of Thad I'm talking about has an inferiority complex, and it's hilarious to watch. The only person he stands up to is freaking Christian, and it's hilarious.
Right.
If you think about it, Christian's the only person he's like, nope, I ain't doing that, sister. But everybody else, he's like, I will kiss your feet. So I love Thad's character. It's hilarious.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us here on this episode. We somehow managed to mishmash this together and put one whole thing together. Yep. Chris, where can the good people find you?
You can always find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisCluck8788. Those numbers mean nothing. You can also find me on YouTube at Take-Two Productions, where we do Schmoedown Reactions, the Schmoedown Reactor Summit, which is just a Schmoedown after show like this, but it's on Mondays. You can also find me on YouTube at No Man's Land Entertainment. Bada bing, bada boom.
All right, and I'm Frank Janisch. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FrankieJ29. Follow the Schmoedown Rundown on Instagram at Schmoedown Rundown and on Twitter at SchmoedownRD. You can also still check out some stats on Twitter at SD Rundown Stats. And then, like I said before, that really easy web address for the stats site, sites.google.com/view/Schmoedown-stats-info. Really easy, guys, right? Go there and check out some across the league stats, general stats, and check it out. Let me know what you think. And until next time, we'll see you later.